Alright, so we've had a pretty interesting week for Sims news. Yesterday, the Sims team posted one of their roadmaps on Twitter, and these roadmaps break down all of the content coming to The Sims 4 for the next, 3 months. So obviously, already, this is a lot to take in. We've been getting one of these, every quarter, and they talk about, the big game updates, the packs that are coming, you get it. But this one actually has a little bit more hinting going on to it. I made a whole video yesterday talking about it and, breaking it down more and theorizing, so I'll link that down below for you. But today, I want to talk to you about this game pack. The slide says, a game pack that throws a party for love. And you can see in the confetti there's some symbols. We got a wedding cake with a heart. We got these rings with a heart. I mean, it's pretty clear to, I think, all of us that this is gonna be a wedding pack, party for love, wedding, They're not being very sneaky with that, nor do I think they're trying to be. I think they're just flat out telling us, hey, you're getting a wedding pack, which is super cool. I'm really into this idea, but I'm kind of sitting here what are they gonna put in a wedding game pack? What is that going to entail? Well, then I saw this tweet getting spread around yesterday. It's from the Boy XP, and it's a picture of what looks like a survey. So obviously I went back and dug for it because I was like, we need to know what this is. When did this come out? What is this? So I'm gonna break this down for you. But first, we must keep in mind this survey literally came out in February of 2017. It is 5 years old, okay? I think it would be very unwise of us to look at that survey and assume that it is absolute fact and what the pack is going to be now 5 years later. But it is interesting to look at an original idea they had a long time ago. And I think it'll be fun to compare it to when the pack comes out and what it actually ends up being, because obviously in 5 years, a lot can change. When they do these surveys, I think they're mostly just throwing out ideas and gauging interest with the community. It's not hey, I made this pack, do you want it? It's hey, I might make this pack, would you be down for this? And these vague concepts that I might include. And they had a lot of surveys come out around that time, but they're different than the surveys we've been seeing recently with The Sims 4. They weren't a broad survey released to everybody. They weren't posting it on Twitter and being hey, all of you take this. It sounds like specific individuals were getting pop-ups with it, or possibly certain people were getting emails with it, and not special people, not YouTubers and stuff, but people who had signed up to a separate survey website that just happened to get sent an EA one, and then also happened to share it on Reddit so we got to see it. Now, from what I can tell, that first one came out on the 19th, and apparently the survey was released through Global Test Market, which is a website that offers companies to pay them, and they send out surveys to people. Now, the original survey was in French, so we have translated versions of these screenshots, but this first one was for The Sims 4 Small Pets, The Sims 4 Dream Jobs, The Sims 4 Beauty Salon, and The Sims 4 Summer Holidays. They talk about adopting animals, teaching pets tricks, building a pet store. Obviously that never happened. We didn't get that. We got cats and dogs later after this, but it's not really these vibes, there's not a pet store that you own or anything. Then the Dream Jobs one talks about becoming an astronaut, leading the life of a scoundrel, or possibly getting a band together. Keeping in mind, this survey came out after Get to Work. We already had Get to Work. Obviously, this pack never came out. The Sims 4 Beauty Salon talks about opening a beauty salon, giving Sims makeovers, waxing, manicures, which we did end up getting, and also getting tattoos in the salon. Cool concept, never happened. And then the Sims 4 Summer Holidays, where you could rent a cabin on the beach, buy a summer home on a cliff, or go to a luxurious hotel, do beach activities, go surfing, explore the beach. We did end up getting a beach pack, but it's not really anything like this. I wouldn't really compare island living to any of these at all. I mean, we didn't get surfing, we didn't get hotels, it's not a vacation world. It's not even really summer themed at all. But there are some bits and pieces of these that did end up making it into the actual game in the past 5 years. And then we get more screenshots of another version of the survey. These were posted in the comments of a Reddit post that was sharing this link. Somebody else was hey, wait a minute, I took a survey like this. Mine was different though. This mentions The Sims 4 Fashion Forward, talking about designing fashion, hosting fashion shows, a modeling career. The Sims 4 Entrepreneur, talking about buying and making over homes, opening art galleries, building a water park, and starting a cafe. This one also super weird. This came out again after Get to Work already existed and Get Together already existed. So what is this? What a weird combination of things. I don't know. Then The Sims 4 Winter Vacation, which talks about settling into a winter escape and renting a snowy cabin, playing in the snow, build snowmen, make snow angels, snowball fights, go snowboarding, explore the mountains. Now this one feels a little bit more familiar to me, right? Obviously, we got a pack called Snowy Escape last year, which you can rent winter cabins, you can go snowboarding, you can climb mountains. So I feel like they did actually end up taking this idea and running with it just, like 5 years later. And you know what else? Something very interesting to note about this. This came out, keep in mind, pre-seasons. So all the comments on these survey things are like, oh my God, they're gonna separate seasons. Because there was like a summer pack and a winter pack proposed. So everybody was like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not gonna sell me winter separate from summer. And obviously now we know that didn't happen. But at the time, I can see why people were concerned, especially like not knowing when seasons was gonna come out. And you're looking at this being like, well, hang on a second. Is it only gonna be winter in that world? Will it never snow at home? But thank God that didn't happen. And then here's where it gets interesting. The last pack they mentioned was The Sims 4 Love Life. Sims interested in matters of the heart are going to be pleased with The Sims 4 Love Life. Go on a variety of romantic dates at all new locations or be the matchmaker for your friends. Experience wedding fun and drama from asking parents for permission to enjoying the honeymoon. The features it lists are go on dates, have your first dates, blind dates, or a group date at a variety of new locations from the Lover's Garden to the Moonlit Cafe, complete with private concert stage. Be a matchmaker, practice your matchmaking skills by setting your Sims up on dates, give romantic advice, and navigate the dating drama as a matchmaker. And throw a wedding. Weddings are bigger than ever. Ask Sims parents for permission to marry, experience bachelor or bachelorette party fun, even plan the details of your big day. So there's a lot to break down here, right? And obviously the pack that they've teased to us that we know zero things about, it sounds like it might be kind of similar to this. I worry that the pack that they're releasing is gonna be more like wedding and not dating. Like this one talks a lot about like going on dates and being a matchmaker. I worry the pack is gonna be more about like throwing a wedding party, throwing a bachelorette party, having a honeymoon. Like I think it might be more focused around the wedding traditions. Obviously, I don't know that. I've learned to take these things at face value, okay? They tell me throws a party for love and then give me a wedding cake and I'm like, okay, it's a party pack. It's the wedding party. And while there are like a million things I could think to add to this pack that are like love related, my expectations are not as high as my hopes and dreams. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. But this is interesting, right? Because it talks about a lot of things that might be really, really cool. I mean, it pretty explicitly mentions honeymoons, new dating options, new lot types. The matchmaker thing is a really interesting concept. I never really thought about that as being an option. Like when I thought about what career might come with this game pack, I was like maybe a party planner kind of thing. The matchmaker one, I think I would like more. Obviously this, again, came out 5 years ago. There is absolutely no indication that this survey is what the pack is gonna be like at all. This is like an idea they had in 2017. And you know what? The survey came out in 2017, but like in early 2017, they may well have had this idea and wrote this in 2016. Okay, so we need to be realistic about the fact that this probably did change a lot since then. And also the fact that like the people that wrote this and had these ideas at the time probably aren't even working on it anymore. They probably have like a different team doing this game pack than like originally had this concept. So again, take this with a grain of salt, okay? But it is interesting. And then they actually had another survey come out with even more packs. A couple of them were repeats from that first one, the Dream Jobs thing and the Winter Vacation thing. But this one also mentions the Sims 4 witches. And we did end up getting Realm of Magic. So let's compare these, right? Create witches who look old and evil or youthful and innocent. Brew magical potions and cast spells with your magical broom, which can also be used to fly through the night sky. Create a sim witch from the ugly to the most youthful. Choose from straggly hair and warts to luxurious capes and wicked new outfits. Now, they didn't really go in that like scary witch direction, which I'm kind of glad they didn't do. Realm of Magic is different than that, and I think that was probably a good choice. Then they talk about brewing potions, which we did actually get in Realm of Magic, and a magic broom, which we kind of got in Realm of Magic. But also, like, those are both things that are pretty obvious additions to a magic pack. Like, if you're gonna make a magic pack, I think we would all guess that potions and brooms might be included. So interesting though. And then they also talk about fairies, which I would kind of be down for. I think of all of the occults that we don't have, things like fairies and werewolves that we're sort of missing still, I'm more into the idea of fairies. Step lightly through the magic dust and try not to sneeze, as it's time to embrace magic in The Sims 4 Fairies. Create your fairies that are tiny and oh so magical. Escape to a hidden fairy world where you can learn new tricks to cause mischief back in the real world. And you know what? They kind of did that with Realm of Magic. They kind of like combined that idea and had that like secret magic realm, which I really enjoy. It's pretty cool there. The lot there is not the best, but the rest of it is really good. Create fairies with wings and stuff, hidden fairy world that you can only go to if you're a fairy or if you have special permission, and also cause mischief and embrace the magical mayhem. I'm into it. Then this last one, also shared on Reddit, talks about The Sims 4 on campus. School is in session and it's time for your Sims to hit the books in The Sims 4 on campus. Take your teenage Sims to boarding school to advance their skills, find more about themselves, and even impress their crush. Move on to university to learn new career skills, join cliques, and even experience the craziness of dorm living. Attend boarding school, you can go to advanced classes, become a teacher's pet, find your place, Sims can discover who they really are, pass notes to a crush in school, start a clique, join a society, secret or academic, we can do that in university. Then college life, enjoy a game of throwy disc or kicky bag on the campus quad. You can do that. Lead a campus protest, sneak into the back of the library to smooch, live in dorms, meet new friends, host parties, prank your friends, face off with rival societies. We kind of got this. Obviously, we got like the more adult version of just university. And honestly, I think it's cool that we got 2 universities. Like instead of just one uni like we had in The Sims 3, I think it's really cool to have like the 2 rival schools. Even better than this like original idea of rival like societies or clubs. Having rival schools is huge. But this boarding school thing and finding your place, I'm still kind of down for that. Like, if you want to do that, I've been wanting boarding school for a long time. And I didn't even want, like, active boarding school. I was good with just boarding school that I could just sign my Sims up and send them away. So, this intrigues me. So what does this mean? Right? Because at the end of the day, this is a 5-year-old survey. This is not groundbreaking news, nor is it like anything we can look at and say is absolute fact because it's old, it's outdated, and frankly, it was never even confirmed to be true. Like, are the surveys even real? I don't know. I think they are. They look real to me. I would be really surprised if like that many impressive fakes were created, but again, at the end of the day, it's really old. I cannot emphasize enough like how much can change in 5 years. If you had like an original idea that you wrote down and like closed the book on for 5 years and then picked back up later on, it's probably not gonna end up being the same thing. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, I'm not super married, haha, to the idea of this pack. And I don't think any of us should be because it probably won't be this. And frankly, a couple of these things I just like downright don't want. For example, the like asking parents for permission thing, they mentioned that twice. And I feel kind of conflicted on this because on one hand, I like the idea of involving my Sims family in their marriage a little bit more because it's kind of a big deal and it means a lot to most people. And even this like is important to a lot of people, but it does feel a little bit antiquated, you know, which you might want. Some people like that tradition. I know for me personally, like Dan didn't ask my parents for permission to marry me, but he did tell them like, hey, I'm gonna propose to Kayla, which feels a little bit better to me than like asking permission. And you know what? I'd like to think that now, maybe 5 years on, they probably would feel similarly. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was some level of like, hey, I'm gonna propose interaction, but I don't really want it to be like a permission interaction. And this also obviously doesn't talk a lot about like the wedding itself, which I feel like the pack is probably gonna be more about like the wedding part. And you know what? I'd like to see that. I'd like to see some updates to the wedding process. And also if they update like the event, I wonder if that's gonna allow for any updates to like regular events. Honestly, an event system overhaul might be really good, especially because there's so many like parties involved with weddings, like the bachelorette thing, wedding showers, rehearsal dinners. It feels like a good time to go in and like make those events more robust. And you know what else? Honeymoons. Honeymoons are important to me. I would love to have like official integration of honeymoons into The Sims, especially now that vacationing is base game, like everybody can go on a vacation. If there was like some sort of special interaction or special thing involved with honeymoons, like a vacation soon after your wedding, I would love that. And that makes me think like, is there gonna be a new world? What would the new lot types be like? Could it be like a destination wedding kind of pack? I don't know. And I don't want to get my hopes up too high. I don't want to sit here and like speculate too much because really, again, all we know is like 3 words from that poster. We are basing all of this. I've been talking for 20 minutes because I saw 2 icons on this poster. So I probably should calm down a little bit. But again, this all is very interesting and I hadn't seen these surveys before. So it's kind of fun to look back on, especially now that we've gotten a couple packs that are similar to them. It's honestly really interesting to like compare this old concept to what Snowy Escape ended up being. And honestly, I think Snowy Escape is better than this. So, well, aside from the hotel complete with room service, I would still kill to have a hotel with room service in The Sims 4, but alas, we do not have one. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will link that video I made yesterday on the roadmap down below so you can watch it. If you're down to listen to me ramble for like 20 minutes, I mean, I got your back. If there is one thing I'm good at, it's not shutting up about The Sims. So also feel free to subscribe. I will update you as soon as we get any more news about anything Sims related, obviously, but perhaps not in a very brief way. It will be a long-winded update. Hopefully you like it. Anyway, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. A couple of those packs on those surveys seemed really weird, didn't they? Like the water park thing is so out of nowhere. What is that?